Hey detectives, welcome to the crew. I'm Sailor Agenda, and this is my Let's Play of Disco Elysium. It's the end of day 2, and we've just ditched Kim, and are now going to go and engage in some activities that we don't want him there for.
Okay, now to go do some Kim-free shenanigans. First of all, I'm sure somebody wouldn't
This
mind if
industrial
I,
gas-powered getting the corpse residue out of these boots is going to require patience, and also a huge pot full of boiling water, soap, and white vinegar.
right, check out
A
the cookware.
commercial pot draws your attention. It's very large, gigantic even. It could be used to make enough stew to feed an entire city, and also to boil a putrid pair of death boots.
Right, cleaning supplies.
There is a variety of soaps and bleaches in the cabinet to the left of the stove. There is also a bottle of white vinegar in the cabinet next to the fridge. It's bad with those boots. Don't be stingy now.
If I, pour soap and vinegar in, am I gonna... Not an expert on cleaning supplies. Yeah, not a good idea. Let's just put soap in.
The bottom of the pot fills with shiny white goo. All right now, chef. Light up the stove and boil them.
Add water and boots to pot. Boil.
The soap bubbles over the rim of the pot. The water slowly comes to a boil.
What's wrong with boiling soap? Surely this is fine.
Strips of polymer fabric and human tissue separate from the lining of the boots. They float to the bubbling surface.
Oh, I thought the wait was like a wait, something's going wrong. It's just we're literally waiting. Yeah, let's wait some more.
The boots look cleaner and cleaner. Those
Oh,
bits of
dear.
human flesh
Oh,
are
God.
beginning to look cooked. You can smell it too,
Oh, no.
just like beef stew.
Alright, a little more.
That's it, chef. The boots are as clean as they're going to get. Steam, dense with the smell of strange meat, disappears into the vent above the stove.
Right, dump that
The
out.
boots look
Let's
clean, but still smell funky.
boil them with the vinegar, separate from the soap.
The strong vinegar odor forces you to take a few steps back from the stove. The whole kitchen now smells like white vinegar, but maybe your boots won't smell like a corpse.
Okay.
A pair of real beauties. The boots are
Fantastic.
shiny, hot, and reek of vinegar. Just perfect.
Master Chef, out. Are these even, like, good? Well, I guess my current shoes... No, my current shoes have composure, but they reduce my panache, apparently. How do they reduce my panache? They're snakeskin. Come on now. Why do these have +1 to indirect modes of taxation? What the hell does that even mean? These are also -1. Oh, they're -1 composure. But +2 authority. Oh, these might help me, These greaves are light as feathers and just a tad too big for you, but don't let that bother you. These on, you look like some kind of future warrior. And they'll keep you safe if you accidentally shoot yourself in the foot. So worth it. Well, that added to my composure, but reduced my panache. I mean, obviously our composure's bad now, but I think the authority boost is probably worth it. And we got a level. This would probably be what we forget, if anything. All it does is boost the learning cap from perception. Yeah, let's put a point into something useful. Such as, we can't boost our empathy. Or our volition. It's not very good at psyche. Not surprisingly. We're especially bad at empathy. Do I have a thought that reduces empathy? No, I must just have a thought that raises the others or equipment or something. Yeah, a lot of bonuses. Okay, well, let's boost perception.
You look down at the white ceramic sabatons hugging your arches and calves, surprised at how well they fit. Your movements cause tiny little clicks, like dice rolling somewhere far away, as the plates reorient to your motions.
I will totally be responsible with this. This is just to protect me from harm,
The
not to show
hardened
off.
vitreous enamel, at once sleek and light, adds a glow to your cheeks and a spring to your step. Just imagine what a full suit of this stuff could do for you.
Yeah,
It
I
may
want
be
it.
a while before you have all the pieces. In the meantime, you should analyze the armor, figure out its vulnerabilities. Remember,
Vulnerabilities.
this is a highly specialized kinetic redistributor meant to stop bullets. Wear it, observe its properties, see if there's a weakness in the design. For the day
Okay.
you have to fight someone covered in the same material.
Makes sense.
You see a heavy, the old cobalt. It leads to a side building.
Still don't know how to get in there. That's gonna be a priority to figure out. I also need to just take a nice sprint down to Joyce and ask her about the pail while my partner's not here. Joyce, what you doing?
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
I've got more
More
questions
lessons
about
in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
Yes, now that we're alone, what is pale?
Are you sure you're sure? Your colleague seemed adamant.
Yes, what is the
Okay.
pale?
The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the inter-islary mass.
And what is the pale like?
Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness.
This world is really screwed up, huh? Like, it's not just an Earth analog. There's some really wonky physics happening here.
The negation of being.
Like, there's antimatter controlling half the world or something. The negation
That's
of-
right. The negation of being.
What are its physical qualities?
It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into Pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible.
If we're surrounded by pale, how do you get from Isola to Isola?
Oh, it is so difficult for us.
A squall of birds. Hardware operating in the harbor. Firm. Self-evident.
It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost. or having our minds damaged.
Pale can damage the mind?
Extensively.
Oh.
Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
Who says and who argues?
Who says and who argues?
The logical positivists say, the dialectical materialists argue.
I see. What does this feel like?
It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
I see.
It's more for her. Way more.
Ah. You're not a civilian passenger?
No nameless detective of the Citizens Militia. I am a member of the Entreprenetic Business Class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually.
That is 4 times the standard limits. That sounds like
Someone
a lot.
else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange grey-haired woman in her lorry.
Do lorry drivers pass the Pale?
Yes. Carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
This actually seems almost outright pointless. Why not just have drivers at the other end of where the airships are going? Like who... It sounds like the equivalent of having the truck drivers sit with their containers while on a modern cargo ship or something. Like, why would you do that?
You should ask the Pale driver about this. See what she says.
Are you over-radiated?
Up to my gills, officer.
I see. What is anthroponetic?
Entreprenetics is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
They had not traveled the entire circumference of the Pericarnassian super E-Solar. It was not merely in the west, it was everywhere, even then, surrounding them.
Did they cross it? The Western Plain?
There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years.
What has anthroponetics changed then?
Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later.
Aerostatic craft?
Hybrid airships, detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely.
If we don't?
Then they don't.
I see. Wait, so the only way to pass the Pale is if you just build up a ton of velocity, and then it kind of carries over, and hopefully if you're going exactly the right way, you just pop out at the other end eventually? That sounds safe.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
How much Pale is there compared to the world?
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping.
Slipping to our detriment, or?
What do you think, detective?
It's growing. There's more and more Pale.
Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate.
That feels like it'd be very important to figure out what the rate
An
is.
intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists.
Where would we go?
Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge.
Clearly it's expanding rather slowly. So it is, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where only physicists have the slightest chance of doing anything at all about it, and normal people, you have to ignore her, downplay it, or just go insane.
I suggest you do the same.
Gulp.
It doesn't look like you're doing the same. The suggestion was meant in earnest, Detective. Live life.
Pretty much. Is it, here?
No, Detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even
That's
more
quite a
to the
ways.
south, east, and west.
This world must be
You are
massive
in the
then,
middle
huh?
of the Isla.
6,000 kilometers to the north. I guess not. I mean, Earth is 25,000 miles diameter almost, so 40,000 kilometers. Okay, but the Islas are still pretty dang big. I mean, at least the size of Earth continents. And, point north there?
An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the pale is called porch collapse.
That sounds fun.
Imagine a grey coronal mist, cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism, a mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see.
I do like disco things. Alright,
Yes,
back to reality.
sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, Detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything?
And I sometimes sense vague shadows of a past that's not good.
Then tell me, what do you think of the Pale?
Its advance can only be stopped with immediate, total, ruthless communism. You were right. It's disco. Her eyes tense, crow's feet radiate from them. She observes you, your bloodshot eyes and
You
swollen
really didn't
face.
know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then
Yeah, it's gonna be a fucking disaster. Everybody's gonna die. You know, I mean, no. Look, this is gonna be my masterpiece. They'll remember me by this. I am the disco cop,
I
I
hope
promise.
so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague, Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him and he is very competent. In the meanwhile, you have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
She gives you a slight bow.
Nothing more nor less. Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM Act. Permit me to conclude with this. And
we
if
had
those
that,
authorities drink so hard they need help recalling,
All
we're
right,
glad to
that's
have been of assistance. The little
We'll talk about the lorryman tomorrow, maybe. I would like to see if we could find our badge. I don't want to sell out too hard, but it's probably necessary. I have no idea how on earth our badge would come up, to be honest. Although we found our clipboard and our clothes, I think, or some of them. No, we had most of our clothes, but we found our clipboard and our coat, I think, or something in the trash, right? Alright, let's go to bed for real.
The bed is still cold from the broken window. And the bed is still cold from the wind blowing in from the broken window. The mattress creaks as you close your eyes and try your hardest to fall asleep.
Here we are again, my broken bud. The waves are coming, carrying you away. But you can't go. No, you have to stay. Always half aware of yourself.
We are just not doing well
You're
as
not
humans.
cooperating, brother man.
Why?
It's your disgusting body. Even through your sleep, you feel a vague discomfort suffusing it. Your belly and your sides are unpleasantly tender. You wish you could curl up into a fetal ball of safety, but you cannot because of the pain.
That pain in your right side is your enlarged liver, by the way. As for your kidneys, you've really been compounding the damage lately.
I see.
But this suffering, it must have some kind of meaning. A story that will come out of it. Perhaps even a story that you will write yourself.
I think I need medical attention.
Oh, yes. They'll check you out, give you some pills, make it all okay. The Wonder Makers.
Don't be stupid, Harry. It's not happening. They don't make new kidneys and livers in hospital. All you've got to do is pray to God it passes and stare at the flickering darkness.
You're just stuck here, in the half-world. Could try looking at other people, really looking. But why would you want to start doing that?
Well, I will. I'm looking at people all the time. I like them.
Sure you do. They're all so friendly, aren't they?
Not
At least
necessarily,
they're
but
interesting. Each
Yeah.
one has a process just like yours, running in the space between their ears, full of secrets. People are beautiful, statuesque, parodies and tragedies of themselves. A great democracy of creatures.
it's true.
What do you think you're doing right now? Coming to some greater awareness? Look at all these lights blinking in and out of existence. Thoughts! You're just pretending that you're asleep, even to yourself, while the world goes on without you.
Let it. Let it.
But it never seems to let you go, does it? Time to rise and wipe that shining sweat off as best you can. Gather your bearings. Rock and roll.
Okie dokie then. Glad our internal systems are so healthy and... Oh, we actually healed health and morale. Look at that.
Mazovian socio-economics.
And we've developed Mazovian social economics.
0.0000% of communism has been built.
I see.
Evil, child-murdering billionaires still rule the world with a shit-eating grin. All he has managed to do is make himself sad. He is starting to suspect Krasmezov fucked him over, personally, with his socio-economic theory. It has, however, made him into a very smart boy with something like a university degree in truth. Instead of building communism, he now builds a precise model of this grotesque, duplicitous world.
Good grief. Mazovian socioeconomics is not a very good thing to have, huh? Left-wing dialogue options do give XP, but on the other hand, we've lost visual calculus and authority. We should probably not beat or shoot ourselves while wearing the armor, but let's see here. You know what? The learning cap for rhetoric was already 5. What does this actually add? 1 conceptualization? Maybe we should forget advanced race theory. No, it takes skill points to forget them also. I see. that's... Yeah, that's something in socioeconomics we probably don't want. But oh well. Our visual calculus still isn't bad, it's just not as great. It's possible to, you know, take a fucking shower. Doesn't seem like it.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom
Ooh.
wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression.
Oh boy. Let's locate the source of the expression.
It belongs in the new, the third decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economy seemed like the ultimate, uncontested way of life for our species.
Okay.
Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made gold and champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. Forget about ostentatious orchestrations. For Revachol, your city, that meant only one thing. Guillaume le Million. If it doesn't rhyme, you're not pronouncing it right. Out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open-air boîte de nuit, somewhere in Revachol West, Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit. Then he made the expression.
So I adopted it because of my love of
Everyone
disco?
loved it.
Right.
Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. Only the grimace remains.
I feel the need to add a clicking sound when I make it. Click,
The
click.
click is used to spur on a horse. It also features heavily in Guillaume le Million's regional mega hit, Don't Worry, Your Pretty Little Head.
I see.
Sometimes you like to add finger pistols to the mix, because, unlike Guillaume le Million, you are a police officer. It's your nifty little way to say, I'm armed and dangerous.
How long ago was the new?
There is a vast ocean of time between right now and the expression. Looking good on you, or anyone. 2 decades, if the calendar is to be trusted. Humanity has run aground in that time. It's a different world now. The expression is a relic.
Anything else? You know, who I am, why did I become a cop, why did I drink myself into oblivion?
You have some understanding of the near history of disco, plus the trivia you've picked up along the way. Episodic memory, however, remains in the dark. It may never return. You should prepare yourself for that.
I see. Does it have anything to do with ostentatious orchestrations?
Not really. OO must have just stirred your mind. They're more like a disco rock band anyway.
Well, I guess that's
It
that
doesn't
then.
have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne-corked smile whenever you want to. Maybe some of the stardust will return.
I could use chain cutters to fix the faucet. Wait, I have chain cutters, don't I? Yeah. Put them in hand. Put them in... No? Oh.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, the chain cutters slip out of your hands as you attempt to twist the faucet into place.
That's great.
Well, you know one thing for sure. You've probably never been a plumber.
Can we attempt to stop the expression?
Still not happy.
Hard no.
It won't come off that easy.
Well, we've hurt our morale that we had just fixed, but that's alright. Map. Yeah, so there's the canal. We've been through... We have a lot of random checks. Just this wall. A lot of checks that we could technically pass still, huh? Well, so, we should be able to cross this canal now, and that appears there's pretty much an entire other half of the map on the far side. Including this church and everything that keeps appearing to us in visions. So I think we're probably going to need to go ahead and go check that out. Yeah. But that is going to be for next time, I think. So, for now, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all have a nice evening. This is Sea Lord Janta, signing off.